If you want your e-commerce business to be successful in Q4, this is the playbook for success, covering SEO, frictionless e-commerce, and how to maximize re-engagement of your customers. Welcome to Retail Reckoning. Today we're diving into peak season prep. Q4 is the make or break quarter. Whether you're an indie, a supplier, a place manager, or a chain, the next few weeks set the tone for your whole year. I'm joined by my colleague, Steph Briggs. She's been there and done it, building and scaling her own e-commerce business, wrestling with logistics at Christmas, and helping other retailers navigate the chaos.
Yeah, retail reckoning. No space for dusty shelves, 'cause retail reckoning owns the floor.
Steph, it's great to have you here. So, if we cut straight to it, what's the biggest mindset shift that retailers need before Q4?
Plan early and act decisively. Peak comes every year, and yet too many businesses wait until November. By then, you are firefighting. Stock, marketing, operations, if you don't lock those down early, you'll pay for it later in lost sales and sleepless nights.
Absolutely. You can't wing it at Christmas. It's all about control and not chaos. If someone's listening and could just fix one thing on their website this week that will make all the difference when it comes to peak, what should it be? And I mean, actually, if you can think of three things, all the better.
So it's got to be, the number one has got to be mobile usability. Most customers these days shop on their phones. If your checkout is clunky, they will abandon the basket in seconds. Number two, I would say, is clean design. Make it really simple, make it really obvious how to shop and how to add to that basket. The less clicks you can get to checkout, the better. And frictionless payments. It's basic, but they're non-negotiables.
So really the key message is forget gimmicks and jazzy websites that are complicated and just make it as easy as possible to buy. But obviously, people have got to find you first. And a lot of small businesses, they'll spend a fortune on a jazzy website, lots of funky design and everything else. But then it's like having a beautiful shop window and closing the curtains because they've not invested in the marketing. So what advice have you got for indies to get their marketing on point and cut through the Christmas noise?
Your customer list and email is where the gold is. It converts better than social, and you actually own that relationship. Pair it with remarketing ads and you'll stay in front of mind. And don't underestimate the power of consistent messaging across the different channels. It really reassures your customers.
I mean, I know a lot of independent retailers and they feel a bit worried about bothering people. But I always think, well, I've signed up for the email. I want to hear from them and I want to get curated messages and I want to get specialised, personalised promotions and everything else. So I like to hear from the retailers that I've chosen to subscribe to. So I guess they need to get over themselves and not feel like they're bothering people as long as they're giving relevant and sensible advice. So in terms of relevancy and the kind of content that people could be including in some of their email marketing, have you got any examples that might help people consider a better way of communicating that they feel more comfortable with?
Letting your current customer base who know, like and trust you and giving them that inside track so that when your Christmas stock arrives, they're the first ones to get to see it. And when your sale starts, if you have any stock left, then they are again the first people to see it. You're looking after your customers first.
Steph, we hear a lot about the importance of SEO, and I've met a lot of independent retailers who have been told that they've got a website and SEO is built in. I mean, from what I know of it, that isn't even possible, is it? I know you do a lot of work to support retailers be discoverable online with local SEO and also all their content. Can you give some hints and tips about what they should be doing? Because obviously anyone that's been sold a website with SEO built in has been sold a bit of a dud.
SEO is sort of marketed as such as a dark art, but there are some basics that anyone can do. If you are an e-commerce retailer, you want to look at each product. You don't want to copy and paste the manufacturer's description. Write your own and input those keywords that you want to appear for within that description. Your meta title and meta description, which is the bit that shows up on Google, needs to, again, have those keywords in and think what your customers would actually be searching for and just put that in there. Each photograph that you have obviously needs to be a really lovely, high quality image, but also the alt description, which is the little bit that Google can read, that describes the picture needs to be filled in for each and every product. Each photograph also, particularly if you've taken your own photographs, instead of having IMG123 as the file name, again, describe the product and change the file name. Not only will that make it easier, obviously, for you to re-find that photo later on when you're looking for it for social media or whatever. Obviously, if you are a local-based business and you have a catchment area that you want to serve in that local community, then making sure that you mention your location within your website and within some of your products will make a massive difference. Blogging is another key passion of mine that businesses, again, it's one of those jobs that's really easy to overlook and to forget about and put off. But actually, if you could consistently blog on a regular basis about your products, about your service, about how you can make a difference to your customers' lives, then this will pay dividends long term.
So basically, you can't have SEO built in because it's a dynamic situation and independent retailers need to work quite hard at it to make sure that they are discoverable. Thanks, Steph. I want to now turn attention to retail operations. It's the sort of unglamorous stuff, pick, pack, dispatch, making sure that things are done and in a well-planned manner, making sure you've got enough staff in place to handle peak. What trips businesses up, do you think? And how can they make sure that the operations don't let them down when they've invested so much time and effort in marketing?
Particularly with e-commerce, it's the delivery side of things that you're not 100% in control of. I remember Christmas a couple of years ago where we had Royal Mail strikes mid-December, and unless you had an alternative courier in place already, you were absolutely stuffed. Delivery cut-offs and returns, if get those wrong and you lose trust, customers don't forgive Christmas disasters. It's an emotive time of year. Clear policies and communication protect your brand as much as the products themselves.
Yeah, I remember the news stories actually. Broken delivery experiences can undo months of marketing. There was one particular story that resonated and it was ever so sad. But it had been snowing and delivery drivers couldn't get through any more than people could go out in their cars. And yet there was an awful backlash against Asda because a Christmas turkey hadn't been delivered to somebody in time. But you think about it, it's like if you're not willing to drive out to the shops, why should that driver put their life at risk? So we also have to recognise that there are circumstances that arise where deliveries can be delayed or failed simply because nobody expected heavy snow in a particular area. That, I guess, comes back down to the communications and making sure that in the regions where deliveries are disrupted, customers are contacted and advised that if you're in this postcode area, unfortunately, we have some issues due to the weather. And you just have to hope and pray that the customers respect that and are willing to, be a bit more flexible and adaptive. And I guess that comes to the next point then. There's the human touch. We always have to balance slick e-commerce with humanity and personality. And particularly with e-commerce where they don't get the face-to-face interaction that they get in store. How can indies scale without losing the human and personal touch?
It's the personal touches, the little notes in parcels. I used to handwrite every single note in each parcel. It's the thoughtful packaging, the quick replies. People don't expect perfection. They really value effort and authenticity. And that's what makes independence memorable.
So I guess that's where the independents are going to get the edge over Amazon, from the warmth and the kindness and the personalisation rather than just speed and parcels being put in your wheelie bin on the day they get taken out. I know that's happened to people before. If we think again about peak, we're going to do as much as we can to help these businesses get through. But then looking beyond peak, what should the independents be focusing on for 2026?
It's all about community loyalty, memberships, exclusive content, blending digital and in-store together. It's about deepening those relationships and not just chasing the one-off sales.
I completely agree there. It's all about the future of connecting online and offline, which we've talked about for years, but so few businesses do it effectively. And I think from a customer's perspective, it's good to never feel like you're a stranger. That whole integrated customer experience that transcends online, offline, social, it has to all feel consistent and it has to all feel authentic, because I believe that that's what builds trust. And in such a heavily contested market where consumer confidence is undeniably low and inflation is putting so much pressure on people's spending power, then having that security, I suppose, of a great customer experience and knowing that you'll get the best possible advice from somebody who's a member of your local community, that's really important. Steph, is there anything you'd like to share before we wrap up for today?
Christmas in retail, particularly as a small indie, is all year round. So you start in January by analysing what happened in the last few months. Then you start purchasing for next December and really building up all the way through to make sure that that golden quarter is golden for you.
Thank you very much, Steph. It's been great to hear your thoughts, and it sounds like that's the playbook that retailers really need right now and year round. For listeners, I hope if you can pick just one point that Steph's made and act this week, it might make a difference, because preparation makes all the difference between thriving and surviving in Q4. You've been listening to Retail Reckoning. My name's Claire Bailey, the Retail Champion. See you next time.
Yeah, retail reckoning. No space for dusty